Hi, this is Bill Ringle, host of the audio magazine, My Quest for the Best, where we meet business, thought, and community leaders to discuss issues relevant to entrepreneurial growth. Joining us today is Anita Campbell. Anita is a small business expert and business owner who helps companies and organizations reach the small business market. Prior to starting her own business in 2001, Anita held a variety of senior executive positions in the corporate world, including Senior VP of Bell Howell Publishing Services and culminating in the role of CEO of an information technology subsidiary of Bell Howell. Today, Anita publishes several online media properties and syndicated content, reaching over 1 million small business owners and entrepreneurs annually. She is the founder and editor-in-chief of Small Business Trends, an award-winning online publication, and hosts Small Business Trends Radio, where she interviews other small business experts. Anita is a prolific writer and regular speaker at small business marketing and technology events. Her new book, Visual Marketing, was recently published. In addition to her own publications, her articles and columns have been published in places such as Inc. Technology, Open Forum, and Success Magazine. She's often quoted in the New York Times, Fortune, USA Today, and other outlets. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Welcome, Anita.
Well, thanks so much, Bill. It's my pleasure to be here.
Anita, tell me, how did you get started in small business? Did you go to school thinking that you'd do this from an early age, or is it something that you kind of happened into?
Well, I actually set out in my career to be a corporate attorney, and that's really what I was for a large part of my career, certainly in the corporate world. And then from there, I found the role of lawyer being a little too confining because I always had to go back to someone on the business side of the house and get decisions made. And so I really wanted to be the person making those decisions about the direction of the business. And so I gradually moved over within the corporation that I was in, as you described in the intro, Bell Howell, and ended up starting an internet business for them, an internet-related unit, because I've always been fascinated by the web ever since I became aware of it in the mid-'90s. And I ran that for a while. Then I left Bell Howell, and I started doing a little bit of consulting just for other entrepreneurs and small business owners that I knew, friends of mine, helping them. One day I decided, well, I'm actually really a consultant because I'm helping my friends. So I put up a website and decided to do an email newsletter. Well, that email newsletter led to Small Business Trends. You see, I just wanted a simple place to publish email newsletter articles so that I would have them online and then I could link to them in my email newsletter. And I was having a lot of difficulty getting them online using Dreamweaver. I don't know if you've ever used the Dreamweaver software, but I'm not very good at it. And so someone suggested I start a blog, go to blogger.com, and that was back in 2003. I did, set up the blog, started publishing these articles. Before I knew it, more people were going to the blog than were reading the articles from the newsletter. And the rest is history. From there, I just decided, well, I'm going to focus more and more of my attention on this online publication. And then from there, we grew it and added the podcast and added some other sites after that.
And by getting entrepreneurs to find your blog and read the articles, how did you get feedback from them as to what information they wanted you to share and edit and produce and research the most?
Well, the web makes that really easy because so many things are trackable. So we would follow our website statistics and see which articles were most popular. We would see which articles were getting linked to by others, just which ones were getting the attention. And from there, we were able to do, more of the things that were really popular. And so that's the beauty of the web. And today, the tools for that and for tracking things are much better than they were even back in 2003. I mean, today you have Google Analytics, which gives you detailed statistics. You have all sorts of social media tracking things which can help you understand social media popularity. So it's a lot easier, I think, today to get feedback. And, of course, we hear directly from our readers. Like any magazine, we get communication from readers, and we act on that. And that's exactly how I consider the publications in the business. We're just like a magazine or a magazine publishing company, except that everything we do is published online.
So not only have the tools become easier to use for publishing, but there are also a wider variety of ways to express yourself online and share good information. Do you get into means of publishing information other than text?
Well, we do our radio show or podcast. We actually broadcast through Blog Talk Radio once a week, Tuesday afternoons at 1:30, and we do an interview with someone who is of interest to small business owners. And that could be another small business owner. We do many, small business owners who just have some information to share that maybe they've learned through great experience. Or sometimes we do, well-known people, authors, people who are authorities or experts in their field. Sometimes we have big company executives from large companies that have products that are important to small businesses. We've even had a couple of the small business administration administrators on. So, it just depends. We like an eclectic mix of good information, whether it's on technology or human resources, management, marketing, whatever it is, as long as it's of interest to small businesses.
And you mentioned that you invite and welcome the feedback from the readers. What have you learned from the readers that have informed one of your decisions about where to take the company recently?
Well, we've learned that people are interested in actionable kind of advice as opposed to sort of long essays that might be, real thought pieces. I mean, there's a place for those, but we need to have kind of a steady diet of good actionable tips. And so we like to focus on that, things that you can actually use, whether it's pointing you to tools or whether it's pointing you to a few techniques that you can apply in your own business. And we write for those who are truly small businesses, so definitely under 100 employees. But a lot of our advice applies whether you're a sole proprietor running a business or whether you have a staff of 5, 10, 50 people working in the business. And we just react to what do people say is the most important to them. And we look at not only what's popular on social media, but for instance, we have a way that people can email an article to someone. And so we look and see how many times an article was emailed to someone else, because a lot of times small business owners don't necessarily want to publicly talk about something of interest, but they want to forward that article to their staff members and maybe discuss it in the next staff meeting, or to someone who works for them. Or sometimes it's, a manager wants to forward something to their boss who is the business owner. And so we look at those types of statistics too, and we see, wow, this article, while it didn't get as many Twitter tweets or Facebook shares as other articles, it certainly got a lot of shares more privately through email. We can look and see the statistic there and say, wow, this one was emailed, 587 times in a space of 3 days. So that one must be really interesting article to people.
Has there been any articles recently in the last 3 to 6 months that have really stood out as being something that people are interested in reading and forwarding to others that might have been surprising?
Well, our perennial favorites are the startup failure statistics. They get quoted a lot. And you wouldn't think an article like that would be, that sounds a little negative on its surface would be so popular. But I think people are just trying to make sure they do not become one of those statistics. And so I think in that sense it's good. It can be motivating to motivate you to make sure that your business does not become a statistic. Also, another perennial favorite is our one-page marketing plan, and we get a lot of interest from that particular article. And that one's been in the site for quite a while. People are looking for, they want to do marketing better in their businesses, but they're looking for something that doesn't overwhelm them. And when you think about your typical small business owner, well, think about yourself. And I think about myself. I have so many things coming at me in a day's time. I don't have big blocks of time to sit down and write a lengthy marketing plan. And even though I use a marketing service provider, I can't afford hours being spent on some long, in-depth marketing plan. So I'm looking for something that is going to be very action-oriented, that we can do quickly, yet it keeps everybody on the team on the same page, so to speak. And that's the beauty of such an article. So, we learn from those things. We learn by looking at those popularity of articles, the statistics there, and we say, this rings true because this is what small business owners are dealing with. We want help. We look for aids and assistance, but it's got to be stuff that we can deal with quickly because we don't have a lot of time, and our time is taken up elsewhere. So, we want to do better, but it's got to be very practical, very action-oriented.
Was it feedback from some of your people who have been visiting the site that led you to write visual marketing?
Well, I'll tell you, in part, it's from my own experience. I know with marketing and with my websites, we only have so much time to spend on coming up with ideas. And if I'm sitting there trying to come up with a new and creative marketing idea, I can tell you if I sit and look at a blank computer screen, that's exactly what happens to my brain. It's blank. So, and I know so many other people who are in the same boat. We're very busy, where our brains are fried and from all the other things that we have to worry about and get done in a day. And so, even if we have some outside marketing help, we're usually rolling up our sleeves and helping our outside marketing agency or consultant. And we have to think up new ideas, and that's very tough. So what I have found is a great technique is that I started just surfing around the web to come up with ideas. I would look and see what others were doing. And then I would sort of pull an idea from here and capture an idea from there. Now, I'm not talking about plagiarizing or doing exactly the same thing as someone else. That's not kosher. We should not be doing that. But I'm just talking about, just using other people's marketing examples as inspiration. And that's really what the book is all about. It's 99 examples that you can use of, low-cost, creative marketing to pull ideas from and hopefully trigger some ideas of something that you can apply in your own business.
Since you learned from your users, are there any other directions in your business that you've taken as a result of getting feedback from your users and reflecting on your own experience? One of the things is running our own publication. We found that with the explosion in blogs today, so many small businesses, and in particular those who sell B2B to other small businesses, have started their own blogs. And while getting information and advice was useful, one thing that so many of them were looking for is a way to also get visibility for their own blog, for their own thoughts, and to be able to share with the world what they are doing. And one of the very powerful things that we learned is that we could become more popular if we helped our readers become better known. And I know that might sound contrary to the way, a magazine would typically be run. A magazine might think, well, our job is to just, spit information and advertisements at you. And your job as the reader is just to consume it. But see, that's what's different today.
And that's what's different with an online platform. And we look on it as being different in this sense. While we want to give you information and resources as a reader, we know that it's also key for you as a small business owner. Perhaps you're a consultant, you're an accountant, you're some sort of professional, head of your own marketing agency. You need to be able to establish your own thought leadership and to be able to get out there and let the world know what you're doing. So what we did then is we started thinking in terms of, well, how can we help other small businesses get their information known? So we would start doing a lot of linking out to other small businesses just to let the world know what's out there. And then we decided to go one further. I ended up buying a site called BizSugar. And the purpose of that site is purely as a platform to let small business owners share their own blog posts. And that's the whole concept behind the site. You go to the site, you can submit a recent blog post of yours. If others see it, they vote on it. The articles with a good number of votes get promoted to the home page, and then from there, if they get in the top 10, they get in our top 10 newsletter that goes out every Friday, or they get into our top 10 widget that people put on their site. In other words, they get a lot more visibility through participating on this site. And that's the whole concept, and we have found that's become phenomenally successful because it helps other small businesses in yet another way that's very practical.
And you're right, that's not a typical direction that someone who comes from an information marketing or publications background would come up with. So it is a unique and contrary direction, and apparently it's been getting quite a lot of submissions, quite a lot of traffic. How do you measure the success of your BizSugar, which is probably bizsugar.com? Is that right, Anita?
Yes, it is, bizsugar.com, and our logo is it looks like a white cube, but of course it's a sugar cube. Well, it's been very, very popular. We look at, you have to register for an account if you want to do anything more than just read what's on the site. So we look at the number of registrants. We're probably at about 350,000 registered users. When I bought the site 2 years ago, there were a few thousand, so we've grown quite dramatically since then. And we keep the site very focused on small business. We don't allow anything off topic in there. If you are really into sports or entertainment, there are plenty of sites for that. BizSugar is not one of them. So, and it's because we keep it so focused that it's, I think, a useful resource because that's what you can find there. And we look at, all sorts of statistics about traffic levels in general and who's coming, who's doing what, so on and so forth. And
I imagine that one of the things that the readers like about it is that it is a place for business owners and entrepreneurs to go, and there's a lot of information, but there's not a lot of distraction, like you say. It's not a major publication site which has millions of readers coming to it, but also looking at millions of different topics. For entrepreneurs who are time-pressed, this is really a valuable resource.
Exactly, and if you go to larger sites or ones that are household name sites, small business topics tend not to get a lot of focus. Oh, sure, the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times have a small business section, but you're not going to be able to submit your own blog posts there. They're not really going to be all that interested in the typical mainstream small business, whereas we are. And on all of my sites. I mean, whether it's an interview, whether it's what we cover on small business trends, or whether it's the ability to come and submit your own articles on BizSugar, we're open and we relish serving even the smallest of small businesses, or even if you think your business is a mundane type of business, there's probably a place for it to be mentioned in some way, because we always look for the unique, what's special about a business. And I feel that every business has something special about it. I don't care how small, I don't care where you're located. There's something special in your business, and if we can spot that, we love to talk about it.
And from your vantage point of being a place where so much good information passes through, what are one or two trends that you've noticed about businesses? Maybe the size of businesses that are contributing, topic articles, special technology, or trends in using businesses. What seems to occur to you as you think about that?
Well, in some senses, the small business realm is a microcosm of what goes on elsewhere. So, in the country and in really even indeed the world as a whole. So we're seeing things, for example, like the growth of mobile. For the last 5 years, every pundit has been predicting this is going to be the year of mobile. Mobile's really going to grow. Well, it's taken a long time, I think, to get there, but we've now really seen this explosion, in a very obvious way, and we're seeing small businesses, even the smallest, using it. So we see even the smallest businesses now have mobile apps that they've created if they're appropriate to their business. Even the smallest businesses can have a mobile template for their website. And in particular, if you use a software product package like WordPress, you can get a free plugin that will give you templates to suit any mobile browser and costs you nothing. So we're seeing now that small businesses really are indeed picking up on this mobile trend. We're seeing more usage of QR codes, which can be scanned by a mobile device, and just more interest in, if you're a local business, making sure that you're in the local business directory so that you get picked up in mobile search, so that when somebody who happens to be visiting an area, for example, is looking for a business, they're going to be able to go to their mobile device, and they might actually be able to find your small business from looking in that mobile device. So we're really seeing the promise of mobile in a huge way. Another thing that I've been actually rather surprised by has been the uptake in tablets, iPads, the HP Playbook, other ones like that by small businesses. And it's not necessarily as a replacement for a laptop, but more as, I think, a bigger mobile phone. There are certain things you can see more easily on a small tablet as an iPad, and you can work the buttons like a little keyboard more easily than you can on a tiny smartphone. So I've been rather surprised by that, by how many people are using these tablets and using them in ways that they might otherwise have used a smartphone.
Anita, you've shared so many great ideas with us. I want to thank you so much for joining me on my quest for the best. You've helped us understand the importance of actionable ideas for entrepreneurs and how focus on what people really want and need leads to business success. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it, Bill, and I'm glad to be here, and I hope everyone will take a few minutes out and visit our sites, and if they're appropriate to you, use them. That's what they're there for. Especially Biz Sugar.